Start the meeting? Okay.
Not quite yet.
All right. Let me share the screen.
Not yet, Dr. Trump.
Not quite yet.
Okay.
Hang on one second.
Stand by.
I'll call the meeting to order. Lancaster City Council. Roll call, please.
City Council Member, Agency Director, Authority Member Doris.
Here.
Molly.
Present.
Man.
Present.
Vice Mayor, Vice Chair Chris.
Present.
Mayor Chair Paris. We have a quorum.
I need a motion to excuse the mayor.
Well, I'll make a motion to excuse the mayor.
I second that.
Okay, roll call vote real quick.
City Council Member Doris.
Aye.
Molly.
Aye.
Man.
Yes.
Vice Chair Chris.
Yes. Okay,
Passes unanimously.
motion passes unanimously. The invocation today is by Rajan Zed. Is he with us?
I see his name.
I see his name there.
He's muted.
Andrea, you want to tell him how to get in?
Sure.
I'm not on the camera.
No, you're not. If you could, at the bottom left, it should have start video.
Okay.
You have to hover over the bottom. There you go.
There you go.
Okay.
Perfect.
Welcome.
Okay. My hearty thanks to Mayor R. Rex Paris, Council members Christ, Malli, Mann, Doris, and City Manager Jason Caudle for scheduling me to read invocation for the great city of Lancaster. I shall be reading in Sanskrit from ancient Hindu scriptures, some as old as 1500 BCE, and then interpret in English. Om Bhurvuvah Swah Tat Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. We meditate on the transcendental glory of the Deity Supreme, who's inside the heart of the earth, inside the life of the sky, and inside the soul of the heaven. May he stimulate and illuminate our minds. Astoma Sadgamaya Tamsoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityur Mamratam Gamaya. Lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from death to immortality. Tasmada Sakta Statam Karyam Karma Samachara. Asakto Hai Charan Karma Parmapanoti Purusha. Karma ne wahi samsiddhi mastita jankadaya. Loka sangreha mevapi sampa shankar tumrahasi. Strive constantly to serve the welfare of the world. By devotion to selfless, one attains the supreme goal of life. Do your work with the welfare of others always in mind. Om Saha Navavatu, Saha Nobunaktu, Saha Viryan Karba Bahai, Tejasvi Navaditamastu, Ma Bizbisa Bahai. May we be protected together. May we be nourished together. May we work together with great vigor. May our study be enlightening. May no obstacle arise between us. Samniva Akuti, Samna Hirdhyaniva, Samnamastuvo Mano, Yathavasu Sahasti. United your resolve, united your hearts. May your spirits be at one, that you may long together dwell in unity and concord. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace be unto all. Om. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go on to the city manager. Is there any items to be removed?
Thank you, Rajan.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, let's do the minutes real quick on the M1. I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes.
So moved to approve the minutes on M1.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Rod.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
City Council Member Doris.
Yes.
Molly. Molly.
Yes. Yes. Sorry.
Man.
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
And Paris.
Yes.
Okay, Motion passes unanimously, and I'm going to turn the meeting back over to Mayor Paris.
Good evening. Sorry I'm late.
Good evening, sir.
So let's go to the COVID-19 update. Jason?
Yeah, Dr. Trong has a presentation. We'll turn it over to him.
Can you see the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay, I'll go full screen. Okay, so as usual, I start at what's happening in the world, then go to the United States, then California, then LA County, then Antelope Valley. So currently, we have about 100 million cases in the world, some 2.1 million deaths. As you can see, in the past few weeks, it looks like their trend is improving. Minus 17%, 14-day change. You look at the graph, there's now a drop in the total numbers. This slide shows which countries in the world is having the most cases. The United States, of course, remains very high, number one, hence the purplish color. India, Brazil, Russia are the countries next in line. If you go over to it looks like Spain and Portugal, England, Sweden 2 weeks ago was in the purple. Now it looks like they've improved. Much of Asia and Africa is now, and Australia, very, very low numbers in total. South America is still behind us a little bit, but the United States remains number one. Going to the United States, California remains the highest number of total cases and new cases, and a lot of deaths. Texas, Florida are behind us. Here, the states that are in the southern hemisphere, the southern part of the United States, where all the purples are, California and Arizona, really is where a lot of the cases are at. Going to California, we continue to have the number one in terms of total cases and new cases. We also currently we're seeing now a nice drop in the total cases compared to about 2 weeks ago. Our deaths was trending up, but there was also a plateau or a drop in our total cases and deaths. So that's good news. For California, LA County remains the most with total cases and new cases. San Bernardino is right behind us on Riverside. When you look at the heat map, looks like basically most of Southern California is where all the cases are, and Northern California is doing pretty well. And then here is the graph of cases. Appears to be dropping in California, and also deaths also has reached its max, and now it's dropping as well. So that's another set of good news. Going down to the county, we now have a total of 1 million cases, plus 1 million cases, with some 66 new cases. Our positivity rate has now dropped down since the height of the after Christmas, New Year's holiday. We're still averaging at 13.8% as a county, but we've been better in the past, 7%, 5%. So we're still on the high end compared to our lowest numbers. And deaths in LA County has now dropped as well. And favorably, hospitalizations also dropped as well in LA County. Mortality rate per 100,000 is 139, with high poverty areas and Hispanic population carrying the most of the deaths. This now shows the light blue line tells us that we are now definitely seeing a drop in positive cases. And deaths are also trending down as well favorably. This map shows where the here in LA is the darkest, the highest concentration. This dark blue is Palmdale, light blue is Lancaster, Castaic. This really small spot here is Saugus. There seems to be a high concentration in Saugus, but the rest of Santa Clarita is very similar to Lancaster, and the San Fernando Valley is similar to Palmdale in terms of moderate cases. This tells us population that are positive and population that are that die in COVID. So here, the gray is the population, and the blue is the infected patients. So as you can see, the younger demographics are the ones getting infected, but the deaths are really in the 80 plus and on. So young people get infected, but they don't die, and older people get infected and die. So here is the summary of what's happening in Antelope Valley. Thank you, Jason sent this earlier. So Lancaster, we tested 8915. We had 1,000 positive at 11.7%. Our positive per 100,000 is 92, and 5 per 100,000 deaths. Compared favorably against LA County, we are, although we have more positives, we have cases, we have less deaths. And this is AV Hospital's current status: 106 positive, 21 on the ventilator, and the beds are mostly occupied. Here's also another similar breakdown. And then Palmdale right beside it. Palmdale is still very heavy census in terms of COVID, and they don't have a lot of beds open either. There was a question last time, what percentage of our patients go on to be ventilated? Generally, in April and July spikes, it was about 25%. Now it's about 15% of our patients go on the ICU, but once they hit, once they're on the ventilator, they really don't do well. 80, maybe 85% deaths. It's really high once you're on the ventilator. These are just comparisons of positive cases versus deaths, and here at Lancaster, per 100,000, we're at 11,627. Compared 4 weeks ago, we're 8441 back then. We are basically higher than the county per population, but our deaths are it's a little bit less. Our colleagues in Palmdale, the deaths are higher, and the adjusted cases are higher as well. Santa Clarita is very favorable. Panorama City is really high, and Woodland Hills is very favorable. And this is just a graphical presentation of where we are. Lancaster's blue, Palmdale is red, Santa Clarita and other cities nearby. I want to spend a few slides on the variant, because that's what's happening now. A lot of discussion, what is the emergence of the SARS variant, particularly the B117 lineage. This information comes out of the CDC, and I'll go from there. So what it is that in December, the United Kingdom reported a new strain called the VOC, variant of concern, the B117 strain. And it has other names if you are very, into the virology of it. But basically, it began circulating in September, and eventually became the dominant strain in England. And now it's been detected in over 30 countries, including the United States. As of the 13th, there's about 76 cases in the United States. And a lot of the evidence shows that this strain transmit more efficiently than the previous SARS-CoV-2 variant strains. So as of January 26th, that's today, last night, 195 cases of B117 has been detected. And again, it's very transmitted. This is a map of where we are seeing, the darker is where the cases have been identified. And of course, it's already in Southern California as well. So what are these variants? The B117 variant out of England has four main mutations. And the first one is the N501Y. This is basically amino acid change. It allows the virus to bind the spike protein on the virus to bind more tightly, efficiently to the ACE inhibitor on our pulmonary cells. So because of that mutation, it binds very efficiently and is therefore more infective. There's also a 697 deletion, makes it highly transmittable, and the P681H makes it very fit. There's also this ORF, which is the open reading frame codon. We don't know what it is, but it looks kind of scary because it appears to be in every very efficient strains that we're finding in the rest of the world. So what the 6970 deletion here allows the virus to escape cleavage by our antibodies. It allows for this new protein to fold differently, so the antibodies can't clip the spike and destroy the spike protein. So that's very concerning for our virologists studying this variant. But it isn't the only variant. The B117 is a major variant, but there's the B135.1 out of South Africa, and two very scary ones that are appearing, the Brazilian and the Japan variants. The Brazilian variant in particular has been detected in patients who have been previously infected with full-blown COVID-19 disease, very sick, and now after 3 months they've recovered, and now this new strain also infects them and causes moderately severe disease as well. So you have two COVID infections in 1 year based on this new Brazilian strain. And the one out of Japan, similarly, it is has been shown that it is resistant to prior infections when you test it against serum of people who have recovered. So that hasn't been detected yet in the United States, but Brazil, the one strain has been detected in Minnesota from a traveler who had just returned from Brazil. So there are a lot of concerns that the virus is mutating, evolving, and we may not be able to keep up with it despite the vaccine. This is a busy slide, but this is produced by the CDC. The CDC modeling what would happen if we don't get our vaccines out to the general public. Currently, it is thought that this B117 is at 0.5% prevalence in the United States circulating, and the immunity of the population is about 10 to 30%. And the reproductive rate is 1.1, which means that one patient with a viral infection will infect 1.1 patient and spread the transmission. If it is at a 0.9, which means if it's a 0.9, that means that the infection's under control, like say in New Zealand, Australia, where they're not having continuous spread, the transmission rate there is 0.9. So if you look at this this graph, the dark blue is the current variant going forward if the reproductive number remains the same, and it is. The light blue is the B117. What would happen if this trend continues? Then by March, it will be equal to the wild type, the current wild type, and by May, it will become the leading virus. And our total, the gray is our total sickness, will also increase from 60,000 cases to 90,000 cases per 100,000. So if we continue our current trend, this will happen, or at least CDC is predicting that. If we're able to control our infections better by masking, social distancing, etc., then the current variant will also drop, but the B117 variant will not be as ferocious as it would be here. and our total the gray box, our total infected cases will be about 25 per 100,000, half of what it is now at 60 per 100,000. So this is a situation if we don't have a vaccine in place. This next slide shows what would happen if we are good at vaccinating our population at 100. At 1 million per day. If we could vaccinate 1 million patients per day, then this B117, the current variant will drop, but the B117 will not climb as high, and our total infection per 100,000 will drop by May. So it all really depends on what would happen if we are able to push the vaccinations out quickly and in a massive way. This here is when the RT is 0.9, which means that it's not infecting well. And it's the ideal situation where the current virus drops, B117 does not take hold, and our total cases per 100,000 drops to 10 instead of the current 60. So this is the ideal situation if we could do it, where the vaccination is rolled out well and everyone wears masks, social distance, and reduces the RT, the reproductive rate. So essentially, the modeling shows that if we continue physical distancing, mask, hand hygiene, isolation, quarantine, vaccination, and enhanced genomic surveillance. Right now, we don't survey all our viruses like we should. For example, England tests 20% of their viruses for the genome change. I think we're at 1% to 2% only in the United States. So vaccine is critical. We are now finishing up, trying to do 65 and older. The next phase will be this group, educators, emergency services, and then tier 2. Overall, LA County, as of mid-January, we're at the most, in January the 6th, we've received a total of 490,000 doses, given out 145,000, only about a third of it so far. And this is just the graphical map of the last table. Yellow is the Pfizer vaccines received. Blue is the Moderna, and the graph tells us how many doses have been administered as of January the 6th. So there's more room to go, and I'll stop there for questions. Let me unshare and stop share.
Jonathan, I just want to comment. In terms of variants, we had a homegrown variant under our nose. This B1426 may be part of the explanation why the Christmas holiday and things looked a lot worse as time went on during Christmas than they were in the fall. And this variant had 5 new mutations and was more transmissible. So it may not have been any more lethal, but so many more people had it. It just by percentage, there was more deaths and more hospitalizations. Would you agree with that?
Yes, we don't know, but because CDC really didn't have the capacity to check the genomes of these the new strains, but I would not be surprised if that turned out to be the case.
Regarding the vaccines, can I speak to that, Jason?
Sure. That's up to Rex, but yeah, sure.
Okay, well, Rex, I don't know. It's your regarding the vaccines, there are a lot of good developments coming up here. The city is working very hard to get more vaccines opened up. And we are currently working with some of our community partners, including Bart's Altadena and the Wesley Center, to try and create more availability of vaccine up here. I heard from Al at Wesley Center today that they currently have some allocation and currently have some appointments still available for this week for 65 and older, as well as healthcare workers. So he strongly encouraged that anybody that needs a vaccine go to the website and schedule an appointment. And the hope is that we will get more and hopefully very soon be able to open a much larger vaccination center.
Does anybody have any idea why we're reduced to begging for a vaccine to keep from our people dying? I mean, for heaven's sakes, is anybody from the county here? I mean, what you've told us, Dr. Trong, is that they're sitting on vaccines. They're storing the vaccines rather than give them to us.
From what I heard today, Rex, is they are, as they get the allocations of anywhere from 110 to 160,000 per week, they're calculating what they need in second doses, pulling those and assigning them to those appointments for the people that already have appointments for their second. They're frustrated as well with getting the distribution.
What you're telling me is the affluent neighborhoods like Santa Clarita, they're getting it first. And not only are they getting it first, they're saving the second dose for them. I mean, how did the Board of Supervisors expect to survive this politically? They are making decisions that are killing our citizens. I'm fed up with it. I mean, I could understand this if it wasn't sitting in a cold storage unit someplace gathering dust while they play these political games.
I understand.
Well, I'm tired of being understood. I want somebody to do something about it. You know, why is it that we're always threatening the litigation? Where's Catherine on this? Why hasn't Catherine sued her own board, for heaven's sakes? It is her job to protect our people. They are not being protected. They are dying. They're dying at such a massive rate. We had to bring in a third world tent city to help the hospital. Where I would not be angry about this if I hadn't just heard there's thousands of doses sitting in cold storage someplace while some asshole down in LA, public health, plays God with it. I mean, this has got to stop, Donna. I want. Am I the only one that feels this?
No, you're not. We hear it every day. I hear it all day long. I know it's frustrating. I'm hearing from what I listened to all day today on the board was that we're still not getting our allocations that we need to get distributed out. So. Yeah,
you're not getting it out. I don't know.
No, we're not getting it.
We could vaccinate this city in 3 weeks. I don't have any doubt about that at all. All 160,000 people, we could vaccinate them in 3 weeks. All you got to do is give us the vaccination. Quit acting like you guys know what you're doing. You have demonstrated beyond belief that you have no idea what you're doing. Just give us our share. Let us save our people's lives. Can you convey that message to them? We do not need them. We just need our share of the vaccine. We don't even want their help because the help they're offering is killing people. Did I leave anything out, Marvin?
No, but a clarification. The asshole you were talking about is not Catherine.
That's correct. It's
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But what I'm hearing from them is not that we have the allocation and we're not getting it out. We're not getting the allocation. That's what I'm understanding. So I will relay that.
Well, is Dr. Trong's numbers wrong? I mean, he just said that this is the number of vaccines that are sitting in LA County someplace.
I know.
I got those numbers from the LA County website under the vaccine tab. You pull that up and all the graphs are there.
Here's the other issue. You did such an excellent job talking to the communities and the churches and African-American communities. And I had 10 phone calls today from senior citizens that called me asking me how can they get their vaccinations because every time they call, they're already booked. they can't even get the shots that, so.
Tell them they can get it as soon as the rich friends of the Board of Supervisors get theirs. Because
I literally just got a call before this meeting. Yeah.
Does anybody ever wonder why Bel Air has the lowest death rate in the entire county? Could it have something to do with the fact that they're rich? Why was it decided to put that vaccination site at Magic Mountain? What possible reason was it done at Magic Mountain when the people in Santa Clarita could just go 10 miles south and get to another one? I agree. But no, you got to take care of the rich people first. That's what they're doing. And then they're acting like they're taking care of everybody equally. They are lying to everyone. I don't want to see another person die in this city because somebody was playing politics with the vaccine. Just give us our share, Donna. Just give it to us. We will get it in people's arms faster than LA County Public Health could even possibly imagine. I mean, and then how many in the Santa Clarita super site, how many are they vaccinating a day?
They mentioned that on the board meeting, but I missed it. I can find out.
Doesn't matter. Whatever it is, I know we could quadruple that number.
Yeah.
We have at least 2 community healthcare partners who are willing to partner up with us and volunteer to make it happen. So
we know. We're frustrated too. It's all our staff is fielding all day long are these same calls. People frustrated trying to get into the system, can't get an appointment. They are unable to drive to one of the megapods to get the appointment.
Who is the person making the decision that is withholding our vaccine? Who? Who gets to decide that our people die? Do we know?
I would say it falls under the Department of Public Health. I don't know specifically who. I'm sure it's a group.
Can we pay them off? Can we give them money? Will they then let our people live? I mean, what is it going to take?
I know.
When they deliberately withhold vaccine from people in a pandemic, how is that not a homicide? It'd be different if they didn't have it, but they have it. They're keeping it in a freezer someplace. And who was it that empowered these people to make the decision that you got to hold back the second shot for them if the first shot gives you 50% immunity?
I agree with you.
I mean, it would seem to me that people ought to have the option or the right to
have the first,
have some immunity from it.
Right. No, I agree. We agree.
So Rex, maybe what we need to do is we only have 2 weeks away. I'd rather not wait 2 weeks, but maybe we need to have somebody from LA County Health speak before the city council. It's real clear to me. Dr. Tron, he just got finished giving us, as he does each time.
Would you like me to work on that? I'm happy to work on that.
Yeah, why don't you bring Barbara up here? I have a few questions for her, and maybe then she won't be able to hang up on me when I ask them.
Let me look into it.
Actually, where's our city attorney? Schedule a meeting and subpoena her up here. We have subpoena power. Let's find out exactly why she has made the decision that our people should die at a much faster rate than the people downtown.
Okay.
I'd like to bring up one other topic separate from the vaccine, something we can all do today. One of the reasons that LA County was ready to take off like a forest fire as soon as we let down our guard around the time of the holidays. We were doing really good up to then in terms of social distancing, masking, hand washing. And then there was some fatigue crept in, some holiday activity, a little colder weather. People got together and it took off. And it had to do with our housing density. So we have the densest housing in the country, denser than New York City. So it has to do with we have dense neighborhoods, but we also have overcrowded housing, meaning that we don't have a room for each person in the house, okay? Or the married couple and each of the kids have a separate room. We often have a situation where there may be 6 people in 1 or 2 bedrooms or more. And this is why it's taken off. One thing we can do today, it's a common sense thing. If you're in a household where you don't have your own room, consider wearing a mask at home. If you can't separate effectively, create a barrier and do your best to spend time outside. When you can't, put your mask on when you're in a common area. And if you actually are sharing a room with somebody, then think about that, because it only takes one person in the household to get sick, and then everyone else can get sick. And this is partly what's happened throughout LA and in the AV.
And some genius made the decision to close outdoor dining so that so that these overcrowded living conditions, you now have to eat together in an enclosed space. I mean, this was not rocket science. I mean, I would have expected more from my 12-year-old when he was a 12-year-old than we're getting from. I mean, I guess I should shut up now.
No. I have one slightly bright point. The second testing site the city helped organize, the Garrison Family Medical Group, is up, it's live. We have tested, in the 7 days that they've been live, they've tested 329 patients. They're testing not just for COVID, but for influenza as well. We're actually seeing about 1 case of influenza for every 3 of COVID, which is, as a medical provider, it's been kind of interesting to me because until this, I hadn't personally seen any influenza in almost a year. So that site's doing great, and we are taking symptomatic, asymptomatic residents of Lancaster, people who live elsewhere. We're working with some employers in the city as well. It's been a really good, productive site.
So when are we going to be able to get some vaccine out, Tiffany?
So Wesley Health Center is currently, they vaccinated a bunch today. They have more appointments, but when I spoke to Al at 2, he still had appointments for tomorrow. They're getting approximately 300 a week right now. And from that,
a week?
Be careful, yeah.
And we have 160,000 people in Lancaster and 150,000 in Palmdale at 300.
Right.
Most of us would be dead by the time we vaccinate.
What I've learned, that they're getting their allocation based on their patient population. So the people that they vaccinated for influenza last year, that's currently how their allocation is being based. Hopefully, by partnering with the city, we will be able to get them a much larger allocation that's adequate for the city as a whole, rather than simply their clinic. And I'm just super excited and encouraged that they're willing to work with us and with other community health partners to make it work. I spoke with the health officer from Supervisor Barger's office earlier today briefly, and there were no promises because he doesn't have that power, but he did encourage that kind of a partnership and said that might be a very helpful thing. So we're working on it. We're going to have to submit another allocation request on behalf of both the Wesley Center and the City of Lancaster together. And I'm going to work with Al and his team to make that happen.
We're also scouring the world trying to buy vaccine. I don't know if we're going to be successful, but we're trying. Maybe Canada will sell us some of theirs. I mean, I look at that map and what I see is incredibly efficient healthcare systems. And then I see the United States and I'm ashamed of our medical. How is that possible that Africa is doing 10 times better than we are? I mean, Well, I guess that's why Samaritan's Purse is in Lancaster instead of Africa. Doesn't that make sense?
Mayor, and I'd also like to add that we're working closely with Kaiser to do a vaccination site in partnership with them as well. We'll have more information towards the end of the week. They've been very, very good partners in this process.
But how does it help us if LA Public Health is withholding the vaccine from us? I mean, I wouldn't be angry if they didn't have it, but they have it. They're sitting on it. They're. For what purpose are they doing this, Donna? Did the Board of Supervisors vote as to who gets the allocations?
No.
Yeah, there lies the problem, Rex. So we need to get to the root of who's the chief decision maker and make sure they understand the priorities that we have. What really frustrates the heck out of me is when Dr. Trong goes through that list and talks about the areas that it's the age population, and then I think if I had it right, it's Hispanics next. One would think, after we take care of the medical workers, one would think we would do a deep dive and they would be priority one. One would think.
Well, we're not allowed to set the priorities. If they just give us the vaccine that we're entitled to, we could get people back to work. We could get people that were the most vulnerable, and we could go to them and give it to them. We wouldn't have to tell them to drive to Magic Mountain if they can get an appointment. I mean, it is beyond my ability to understand. And could you imagine us telling Jason, you take the hit, you hide all the vaccine, make sure all our friends get it first, and we're not going to vote on anything, because that's what the Board of Supervisors has done. Let's be clear about that. The fact that they haven't voted on how this is allocated is just shocking to me. So, Donna, how do I get our vaccine?
I'm working on it.
But
I
wouldn't be so upset, but that's what I was told 2 weeks ago.
I know.
So how many people died in the last 2 weeks? Dr. Trong, do we know how many people died in the last 2 weeks up here?
I have to go back to the chart, but I think about 26, 27.
Is that enough for Barbara Ferrer that we only lost 28? How many more do we have to lose before she gives us our vaccine? You know, Netflix is going to do a series called A Serial Killer. Never mind. All right, let's move on.
Rex, will you introduce your deputy mayors for the emergency teams?
Of course. We have Dr. Trong, we have Dr. Stock, we have Tiffany Tanner, and is that the three? Anyone else here?
Marie Altamirano.
Is she here?
I am here, Rex. Marie Altamirano. Hi. I'm
Maria,
just listening in.
You know, you got the CNA. You could put some political heat on these people.
Definitely. And I think one of the things I did talk to a couple of retired nurses, and again, the issue always pops up. It's the vaccination. I know even within LA County, just the website was a huge problem, you know, getting an appointment. And I think they partnered with the state to make it more easy.
They have.
Yeah,
yes.
And they partnered with the state, but unfortunately, once it became available, all the appointments were gone, and the only availability in Magic Mountain, I believe, for our 65 and older population is, is the second dose, and so I think
let's get all the 65-year-old people on the freeway driving to Magic Mountain.
Yeah, but I think And I think, this valley, especially here, we're ready. I think nurses, those retired nurses, from what I'm hearing, they're ready to assist in any way possible to assist in vaccinating, administering those vaccines. But like you said, we don't have them. So once we have them available, I think we can round up easily people to assist in vaccinating our population.
Do you have any doubt we could vaccinate this city in 3-4 weeks tops?
Right.
Maria?
I think so. I mean, like I said, sorry, I muted myself. But yeah, the need is there. I can't give you the exact numbers. I'm not sure, but people are willing to come in. I know for a fact currently there have been nurses that have been volunteering at Kaiser and at Magic Mountain to administer. I mean, the fact that they're driving to Magic Mountain to assist and volunteer to vaccinate, the 65 and older population. Imagine if they were able to do it here locally. It's amazing. I mean, let's just get the vaccines.
I spoke to Kaiser leadership today. They think if they could partner with the city and get approved to do this, they could vaccinate 5,000 people a day, which would get us pretty well done in 30 days.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
We're talking, I guess Jason can fill us in, but hopefully the stadium or some other large venue can, Kaiser can come in and bring our resources and vaccinate once we have the doses.
Grounds.
Correct. We're currently looking at the fairgrounds. We've set up the traffic controls, all the necessary administrative function and partnership with Kaiser. Just looking for the final approval, and when that final approval happens, we will be, launching it and shouting it from the mountaintops. There will be opportunity, and again, I want to repeat, Kaiser's been a fantastic partner in this process.
Rex, I'm getting a bunch of phone calls. Everybody is cheering for you, but they want you to calm down. They're scared you're going to. My phone is going off the hook. My own mother's watching and she's clapping for you, but she don't want you cussing them out no more.
Well, I think we know a lot more now. We know that our population is the minority. It's not the majority of our population are of color. People of color do not absorb vitamin D from the sun as well as Caucasians do. And what they're finding is a link between the vitamin D and the severity of the disease. I mean, all of the factors come into play that we should be first, not last, because our population is more vulnerable. And it's demonstrated, and even with that level of vulnerability, we're able to keep more people alive than they are in LA. I mean, this really has been a community effort in so many ways, and to be thwarted like this is just it. If we were independent countries, we'd already be in a shooting war. Let's face it. Okay. So I will take Daryl's mother's advice and bite my tongue.
And I'll move that we approve ED1, 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Roll. Oh, do we need
we need to provide for public comment?
Yeah. Is there any public comment?
At this time, anyone wishing to comment on ED1, please press *9. I will announce the last 4 digits of your calling number, then it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Please press *9 at this time if you wish to comment on ED1. No speakers on ED1.
Okay, let's call the roll.
City Council Member Doris?
Yes.
Molly?
Yes.
Mann?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Christ?
Yes.
Mayor Paris?
Yes. Okay, ED2. Do we have a report?
Yes, Mayor Paris, this is a standard procedure we do every 2 months or 3 months. It requires us to continue and extend and confirm the existence of an emergency. Obviously, based on the conversation we've just had, that emergency is still well in existence. So with that, I'd ask that you adopt resolution 21-01, confirming and continuing the existence of a local emergency.
Is there a motion?
I'll move that we adopt resolution 21-01.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Are there any speakers?
At this time, anyone wishing to comment on ED2, please press star 9. I will announce the last 4 digits of your calling number when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Please press star 9 at this time if you wish to comment on ED2.
No speakers. Any discussion? Oh, the one thing is, in the event we are successful in finding a vaccine that we can purchase, I'm assuming we have the authority to purchase it. Or do we need to have a vote on that?
They're in the emergency procedures. It delegates certain authorities to the city manager to move quickly, and I would have that authority to do that. Okay. I would do like the item ED3, come back and ratify it with the council, especially if it's a large expense. But that authority does lie within the city manager's office in an emergency.
Okay, good. It looks like we have a speaker. Is that correct?
Like Dr. Stock might have something to say.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. We have ridden a wave of holidays that have resulted in cases, hospitalizations, and deaths that is terrifying to those of us who work in hospitals. And we really don't want this to happen again. The next big thing that's coming up is the Super Bowl. Can we please try as a community to prevent transmission? Please don't get together in big parties. Please, if you get together with anyone, wear a mask and watch outside if you can. Don't use this as an opportunity, even though it's exciting. Do not use this as an opportunity to transmit that virus, please.
Are they going forward with the Super Bowl?
Yes.
Is that insane? So, Allison, is there any way I can block out the Super Bowl?
Block it out, as in prevent the transmission of the video within the city's limits?
Yes.
I'll look into it. Not sure we have that power, but I'll look into it.
Are you stuttering? You're stuttering.
I was stuttering. Yes.
Okay. Well, let's look at what happened. You know, if they had just let people play football and go to the stadium and just have separation, it would have been outside. There had been much less transmission. Well, all they did was put everybody in their living rooms, and their friends come over, and they're in an enclosed space. They're in the worst petri dish available. And now we got the Super Bowl coming at us. I mean, and look who is transmitting the disease. It's the age group that is going to be doing the Super Bowl. I mean, you know, the young people are getting it, but it's the old people that are dying. The governor didn't have any trouble at all running every restaurant in the state out of business. But the Super Bowl? Am I missing something, Marvin?
Yeah, I mean, life has to go on. Mental health is just as important as everything else. So my suggestion would be, like Dr. Stocks, would be to continue with the Super Bowl, but do it cautiously. Don't go outside your home. Don't go outside. Use those same rules that we did for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, those of us that didn't catch the disease, and to stay safe. There's a safe way to do it, and that's what we should be practicing. If we get everyone to practice to do this, I think it's good. I don't think big Super Bowl parties would be good for your family, and I don't think that's what we're encouraging. So I'm just saying that because I don't want the flood of phone calls that we're going to get because you said you're going to block the Super Bowl.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I'm just pointing out that if people invite people over to their house to watch the Super Bowl, they're asking to transmit this disease, and we will be right back where we were. And what happens if a Samaritan's Purse packs up and leaves, and then we have another surge? I mean, I'm just trying to I want the message to get out there, and maybe the way to do it is, to say stupid things like, I'm going to shut off the Super Bowl. I'm really not going to do that, but it gets people.
Thank you.
All right. So anybody else got any bad news for me? Dr. Stock, Dr. Trong, or any other surprises out there coming our way?
No, actually, things have turned the corner at the hospital. I think we're actually seeing some improvement in terms of number of hospitalizations, number of ventilators being used for people needing intubation. The ICUs are still busy, as is the next level down. However, we're just seeing things trending down slowly, and there's definitely a palpable feel that we're headed downwind as long as we can avoid another surge. So we got to do what's in our control to do.
Are we getting towards the numbers for herd immunity yet in our city, or not?
No, they're estimating 1 in 3 people in the county might have. Oh, I just lost my stuff. Sorry.
So about 30% of the 1 in 3 are positive, but you need about 60 to 70% herd immunity to protect the entire population. And so the vaccine is supposed to increase that herd immunity. If we get it in time before these new variant strains take over. There's some data that at least the Moderna vaccine is still effective against B117, but not as effective as it could be. There's some weakness in that. What they did was they took blood from people who received the vaccine, and they tested against the virus, and the virus still was suppressed, but there was some. It wasn't that suppressed as rapidly as before. So it still works, but not as well. And it's only a matter of time. The virus evolves it mutates every 1 to 2 weeks, and eventually it finds the niche, for example, preventing its cleavage so that it can bind to the cells faster or more efficiently. At least in England, they are now looking at data that shows the old virus used to have about 10 deaths per 1,000. This one, the B117, it looks like it's about 14 to 15 deaths per 1,000. So there's an increase with this B117. Initially, they said it was more contagious, but now it looks like it's more lethal if all the numbers turn out to be that way. So two things that we don't want to hear.
Dr. Trong, I have a question. In terms of the new variant, are we seeing, or is there any studies currently that show that they have to change the treatment plan for this new variant? I mean, currently we're using convalescent plasma, remdesivir, but since it's a new variant, is there an effect now in terms of the treatment? Have we looked into data into that in terms of the treatment for this new variant? Is that going to change?
For example, Merck has pulled out a vaccine, and Merck is now focusing on therapy for COVID. For sure, even with remdesivir, we're not convinced that it really does a good job against the virus. We've shown that it reduces hospital stay and mortality only in some small groups. But there's not a lot of treatment out there, not a lot of therapies. The one that really did the work was the dexamethasone. As you remember, there are 3 stages of this infection. The first stage is the viremia, And that's why baricitinib and all the antibodies and remdesivir and convalescent serum works. But once you go beyond the 10 days of the viremia, the next stage is the inflammatory stage. That's when your dexamethasone kicks in and your lungs get all swollen, and that's why dexamethasone works. And then the last stage is the clotting stage, where all the organs begin to clot, and that's when people suffer strokes, heart attacks, renal failure, and then they get on the vent and they can't get off the vent. So the dexamethasone seems to be the only one that's really shown efficacy. So not the antivirals, it's more the anti-inflammatory.
Totally agree with that, and as well as the proning has been somewhat helpful. So those two, the cheapest things work. Everything else works, and the best thing that works is prevention.
Right.
So,
You know, the Spanish flu, it was the second year when it came around that killed 100 million people. We're a long ways from being out of the woods, it looks like.
Apropos to that, and this is a bit chilling, but the Spanish flu didn't end until everybody on the planet was either immune or they'd passed away. So if the two alternatives, there's clearly a better one, which is get immune. Yeah.
So are we reopening the restaurants now outdoors?
Friday.
Yeah, the state lifted the state.
Friday.
Yeah, and there's certain changes to that.
Can we for the restaurants that are serving outdoors, can we assist them on setting up televisions for the Super Bowl so they'll be outside?
We have a Stand Strong program, which has all the assistance they need, not only from PPE, but sanitaries, some heaters, everything we've got. That program still exists. So if they reach out to Economic Development, specifically Shannon Dow, those resources are available and to them. If you want to add TVs to the list, we can do that as an option for sure. Right.
Well, look into seeing if that will help keep people out of visiting each other's houses for the Super Bowl. That's scary. All right. But the reason I'm thinking it's so scary is just the demographic involved. It's that demographic that's passing the virus. Okay. Anything else on it?
Rex, we still need to vote on it.
We still need to vote on that item.
Okay. Let's call the roll.
City Councilmember Doris,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Mann,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chris,
Yes.
Mayor Paris.
Yes.
Passes unanimously.
Okay, let's hear the staff report on ED3 on the field hospital.
Yes, Mayor and Council, as you know, we've worked almost 2 weeks ago to build or help build the Samaritan's Purse Hospital at the hospital. And as a result of that, we've incurred some expenses, not only in the construction of the facility, but also the housing of the nursing staff, as well as feeding the nursing staff. The community members have stepped up very well, not only in assisting the feeding, but also assisting in the construction of the facility. It's currently operating at capacity. I don't know if Dr. Stock, if you have today's numbers as relates to number of patients in site.
This morning we were 33. They have a capacity of 52. They were up as far as 40, and then things have come down a little bit. So they're doing a terrific job.
Yeah, so you can imagine those are 40 more patients that would have been in the hospital. And as you guys know, the stresses that the nurses are dealing with and the doctors at that hospital are great. So it's just been a huge operation. The expenditures, due to the size of it, I felt it important that we come back and ratify those expenses with you to the tune of about $822,000. So with that, I'd recommend you authorize the expenditure of $822,000 and change, appropriate that from the general fund, and authorize the city manager to finalize and execute all documents. Just a note, it is coming out of the general fund, but this would be a reimbursable item. This could be a reimbursable item for FEMA. So we'll be tracking that and also asking for reimbursement that from the Emergency Management Agency to get reimbursed for those as emergency expenses.
I thought LA took all the reimbursement for their Olympics.
But that's for the road money. They're taking the road money for that.
Okay. They haven't taken the CARES money for that?
Well, they might have taken the fair's money, but because the fair is contracted with the city. So everything that we're doing has to go through the city. And so the city bills, then if the city is reimbursed, then the fair gets reimbursed.
No, the CARE Act, that's the care, not fair, CARE's money. All right. So we're going to get the 800 back. Is that what you're saying?
We have an opportunity to request it for reimbursement. Whether we get it back or not, we assume what we're not, but we're going to make every effort to get it.
Well, they haven't stopped at killing our people. I don't imagine they're going to feel any qualms about stealing our money. All right. Is there a motion?
I'll move that we.
We'll need to take public comment too.
I'll move that we do ED3, A, B, and C.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Public comment?
At this time, anyone wishing to come in on ED3, please press *9. I will announce the last 4 digits of your calling number when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Please press *9 at this time if you wish to come in on ED2. Caller with the last 4 digits, 7946. Please press *6 to unmute yourself and state your name.
Good evening, Council.
Evening.
And staff. Yeah, I've been listening to the meeting, and I guess the party at Rex's house is off for the Super Bowl. But on a more serious matter, out here at Kensington, we've had a couple of deaths from COVID, and seems as though as property management and the people concerned are trying to hide it. I know today they tested the people that are in transitional, but they're not offering the permanent housing testing, and maybe you guys could look into that. I heard that the mayor and Heather were here yesterday. I don't know if there's truth to that, but if they were, then we're making progress, because somebody told me they spoke with the mayor and that they're aware of the conditions out here. So with the COVID issue, hopefully with 2 deaths, one in March and one around the same time, I think that they should be looking to offer testing to the people. I brought this up to the site director, but she didn't seem to think that that was necessary. I mean, if they are out here with people like they were today, it seems like they would be offering it to the permanent housing also. Thank you for your time.
No other speakers at this time.
I was out there yesterday, and I was disappointed in what I saw. But I turned it over to Jason and staff to work with them. The vision we had for Kensington was that it would be a model for the nation to follow. Of how to deal with the homeless situation in a way that people could thrive. And that's not what I saw. And I really hope that we're able to rectify that immediately. And it also seems to me that shouldn't we be vaccinating? I mean, these people are living in very close quarters, and they all have serious, not all, but there's significant health issues out there to begin with. Why? I don't understand why we can't send a volunteer nurse out there to vaccinate everybody all at one time. I mean, it's just another example of we could do this better. Let us do it. Especially if they're dying. I'm sorry, Tiffany, what?
We absolutely can go out with vaccine once we have vaccine. And if we need to get testing out there, we will figure that out.
We should get the testing. If let's verify that information. If we have COVID deaths out there or COVID out there, let's get them tested. And then let's also, while we're out there testing them, let's see if they're doing everything they could to prevent this from happening. Also make sure that there's masks readily available. The person I was meeting with pulled out his mask, and it was the mask we gave him 3 months ago. We need to do better. Okay. Any other speakers?
No, not at this time.
Can you call the roll?
City Council Member Doris?
Yes.
Molly?
Yes.
Mann?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Christ?
Yes.
Mayor Paris?
Yes. Just so the council is clear, I expect them out of Kensington to operate that program in a way that respects the people living there. And I think that they should have their own mailbox. I think I think that's elementary, especially given a lot of these people have a great deal of suspicion. Few paranoid people out there. And when you take somebody who's suffering from that type of situation and somebody has to get their mail instead of them, it's a big deal to them. I think we could step in their shoes a little better than we are. Okay, let's move on.
ED3 passed unanimously.
I'm sorry, what?
ED3 passed unanimously.
Yes. I got to recuse myself from CC4, so I will go dark, and Marvin, take it away.
Do we want to do CCEA, CC1 first?
We could, if you want.
It's prior to the consent calendar.
Oh, did I skip one? Okay, I see. Oh, all right, good. Any speaker cards on California Choice Energy?
At this time, anyone wishing to comment on CCEA, CC1, please press *9. I will announce the last 4 digits of your calling number when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Please press *9 at this time if you wish to comment on the California Choice Energy Authority consent calendar.
No speakers? Is there a motion?
Motion to pass CCEA, CC1.
Second that.
Can we call the roll, please?
City Council Member Doris?
Yes.
Molly?
Yes.
Mann?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Christ?
Yes.
Mayor Paris?
Yes. Passes unanimously. Now we can go to the consent calendar. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar without CC4?
I'll move that we approve the consent calendar pulling CC4.
I'll second that.
Can we call the roll, please?
Public comment?
Oh, public comment? Any public comment?
At this time, anyone wishing to comment on any item on the consent calendar, please press *9. I will announce the last 4 digits of your calling number when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Please press *9 at this time if you wish to comment on any item on the consent calendar. Caller with the last 47946, please press *6 to unmute yourself and state your name.
Good evening again, council members and staff. Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is David Aber. I am glad that finally somebody's paying attention to what's happening at Kensington. There's civil rights violations. There's lease agreement violations.
Mr. Aber, we're on the consent calendar. You have to confine your comments to the consent calendar.
Fair enough. I appreciate that you were here. I didn't want to misspeak because I spoke to the gentleman this morning that you spoke to because he came right up to me to let me know that I'm not the only one out here who's having their civil rights violated. And I appreciate your compassion to understand that there's many people out here that do have, unlike myself, I have physical limitations. and there are people out here that are challenged. And all I've tried to do is try to.
Thank you, Mr.
All I've tried to do is make this a successful project.
This is the consent calendar. Let's follow the rules. You know the rules. You've been doing this as long as I have. Okay, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
We did that, but Jason, did you want us to also pull CC7 and talk about it?
No, I just think it's important to maybe highlight. I don't know that you need to pull it. This is the requesting the extension of the takeout and chill, which is a restaurant rescue package. As you know, the council authorized nearly $850,000 for restaurant support. We're going to extend the deadline for that. There are still cards outstanding. But also I think there's some great opportunity as it relates to the opening of restaurants Friday to allow those restaurants to partake and benefit from those cards as well through that process. So I think they're still in need. We as city staff think they're still in need. I know you as council have held that as a high priority. So it's obviously approved. You can approve it. I just wanted to highlight that that's going to be continuing and, for the public to continue to use those cards. And we'll continue to monitor it if necessary. As it later gets on, we could extend even some more cards if necessary, if the others are not coming in. So, but anyway, I just wanted to make a highlight of that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I thought what we were going to do is we were going to roll it over.
That's what we're doing.
When we reach the deadline, we just roll it over again. These people are going to need help getting started back up. I mean, just because they're open doesn't mean their problems are over. And I want to stay with them as long as we can in regards to getting them back online. Everybody agree with that? Any disagreement with that?
None.
Okay.
None. Definitely, we get people back to work as well. That's a hard hit segment of employment, Rex.
Okay. Good. Is Palmdale having any better success with the vaccine than we are?
Not that I'm aware of.
They're working to try to open a site up in Palmdale at the Metrolink station, but they're still going through the process.
All right. Is there any benefit to having ABTA bus people to Magic Mountain? Can we work something like that?
The feedback is we've asked people to test the site and getting appointments, and they're even having difficulty getting appointments. So as much as that would be, if we had 30 people that had appointments, I can guarantee you the ABTA would step up and help. But getting 30 people to get appointments is
that's the challenge. The new platform that the county is working on with the state is that she made reference to earlier is supposed to be, from what I understand and understood today, should be up and running next week. And it's going to be a lot more user friendly and not so cumbersome, especially for those that have technical challenges, our elder population. Then they are calling the call center. So they're trying to add capacity to the call center as well, because so many of those calls are getting backlogged from people that are having trouble at the website. But the new platform is supposed to be much smoother.
Did anybody tell them they were going to need to have a vaccination program? I mean, was this a surprise to them? All right. So let's vote. Call the roll, please.
City Councilmember Dorst?
Yes.
Molly?
Yes.
Mann?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chris?
Yes.
Mayor Paris?
Yes. Okay. I'm going to turn the meeting over to Marvin Christ.
Okay, CC4. Do we have any speakers on it?
At this time, anyone wishing to comment on CC4, please press *9. I will announce the last 4 digits of your calling number when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Please press *9 at this time if you wish to comment on CC4.
Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. I'll entertain a motion for CC4.
I'll make the motion to accept CC4 as comprised.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
City Councilmember Doris,
Yes.
Molly,
Yes.
Mann,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Christ.
Yes. Motion passes 4-0-1 with Mayor Paris abstaining. And I will turn the meeting back over to Mayor Paris for NB1.
Thank you. Before we get to that, Jason, could you make certain we get boxes of masks out to Kensington?
Yeah, and we also have individual sanitizers and stuff like that. We'll make sure they get out there ASAP. We'll be out there tomorrow.
Thank you. Oh, new business item 1, me and Mr. Molly are off. Oh.
And Mr. Mann, which means we need to do a rule of necessity. And the way we will do the rule of necessity.
Rock, paper, scissors?
Actually, I'm using a random picking methodology that available on the web, and I am entering the names of Mr. Mann, Mayor Paris, and Mr. Molly.
Our full names, or
just your last names. And for the public's edification, under the rule of necessity, where a conflict among council members would result in an inability for the council to take action because we would not have a quorum, the rule of necessity is employed. And in that case, we use a random methodology to select one council member to participate despite their conflict. All of the council members will need to announce their conflict. And then the individual who's selected by the random selection methodology available on the web that I'm about to run will then participate in this item each time it comes before the council. So once I hit this button and it does a random selection for me.
Excuse me, Allison. I think that misread the note. Mayor Paris does not have to recuse himself, only Councilmember Molly and Mann.
Oh, my apologies. In which case, we do not need to employ the rule of necessity, and council members Molly and Mann need to recuse themselves, and Mayor Paris, you're in. My apologies. I misread the script as well.
And so I need to state my conflict and my own property within the area that would be impacted. So with that, I'll recuse myself.
And you should mute and turn off your video, please.
And same here, I have a business within a proximity, so I'm going to recuse myself.
Thank you both. Sorry about Mr. Mayor, I misunderstood as well.
Okay. So.
Left me with the old councilman.
Do we have a staff report on new business item 1?
Charlie, you want to start it?
Yeah, we do have a staff report. We're going to go ahead and bring up our senior construction manager, Mike Livingston. He's going to give an overall update on all the Measure R interchange projects. Before I kick it over to him, I did want to give Mike some recognition. He was put in charge of the construction side of things at Samaritan's Purse. I think he lived out there for about 8 days. Needed a really knockout job at making sure they had their oxygen, they had their power, they had everything they needed to get set up and go. So just wanted to give him a huge shout out and say thank you, Mike. And with that, the floor is yours.
I appreciate it. Good evening, Mayor Paris and council members. Tonight I'll be briefing the overall projects for Measure R, but first I'll go ahead and go through and address MB1. So with that, I have a presentation. So I'll go ahead and move to share my screen. Sure. Okay, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so tonight when we go through this, the Measure R projects, Measure R is a half-cent sales tax from LA County to finance new transportation projects, and it went into effect in July 2009. Measure R alone doesn't fully fund all these projects. The measure contains an expenditure plan that identifies the projects to be funded, and there are several of the interchange projects that we have going through our city have been designated on that plan. This program really was to streamline projects that are already in the queue and then to move projects along faster and to push for traffic signal synchronization, pothole repair, extended light rail, freeway, improve traffic and freeway flow, affordable transit fares, clean fuel buses, and other amenities to relieve traffic throughout the greater Los Angeles area. So when I go through the projects, as we get to them, there's basically 5 different phases of a project. You have programming, planning, environmental, all of which we have completed on our projects. And now we're moving in the design, right-of-way, and utilities phase, and then moving towards construction. So with each one of these projects, you're going to see a wide range of right-of-way improvements, anything from handicap ramps, sidewalks, curb gutter, retaining walls, bridge widening. We run the full gamut on all of these projects in terms of what's going to be improved, and each one is very unique with regard to those improvements and how we're interfacing with the 14 freeway, and then, of course, bike lanes, pedestrians, and then the local roadway. So as we look at MB1 is the award of Public Works Construction Project 21-012 for the State Route 14 highway, or State Route 138, State Route 14 Avenue J interchange improvement, Phase 1 local. So as you can see on the slide here, Phase 1 local is the area in green. So this will be all of our local streets, all of our local streets that are going to receive pavement treatment, curb gutter, sidewalk. We're going to look at landscaping, landscape medians, driveway access, and a full rehab of Avenue J from 25th Street West to 15th Street West, and along 20th Street West from Avenue J8 to Avenue J. So as part of this action, this is a threefold action that council is going to have to, when council approves, should they approve. The first is to authorize the city manager to sign the Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transit Authority Funding Agreement, Amendment 1. This is a result from a June 17th, 2020 Metro Board approval for an additional $11,274,943 of Measure R funds to be transferred from the grant funding account to the Avenue J Capacity Enhancing Project, bringing the total budget to $21,274,943. Action 2, from the Measure R Highway Equity Grant Funding, we're requesting council to authorize the Finance Department to appropriate an additional $1,828,500 to the account number 210BR 007924. And that would fully fund the Avenue J Phase 1 local project for construction. Action 3 is the approval of the Public Works Construction Project award to C.A. Rasmussen of Valencia, California, for a total project cost of $5,312,407.90. So to sum up NB1, what we're looking at here on the screen is everything in green is the construction that's going to take place. What we're doing is we're identifying the funds. We're then moving the funds, and in finance, we're requesting to move the funds to the project account. And then action 3 is to award the project and move to construction in in March. Now with Phase 1, Avenue J, we have about a 6-month duration there, and we're moving through Phase 2 Caltrans. Right now, we've submitted the 95% design plans, and LA Metro is currently getting ready to approve an additional $8 million to be brought forward later in the summer for council to approve to fully fund the freeway portion of Avenue J. And as you can see here with the freeway portion, we're actually making this a full interchange at Avenue J, and of course for Medical Main Street. And then again, we have work down here at 20th Street West, where the ramp, the off ramp to Home Depot is going to be widened. So all of these projects are working together to take out the high-speed ramps, and so that they can interface with our local street network. We're trying to improve traffic operations and how cars interface with the local traffic. That includes both pedestrians and bikes. Moving forward to Avenue K. Avenue K, the total cost for this project is $30 million. As you can see, we're going to take out the high-speed on-ramps, and we're going to basically close those in and shorten the distance, so that way we can have interface with our peds and our bicyclists along that route. With this improvement, you're going to see, again, improvements to landscaping, improvements to the pavement. So from essentially 20th Street West to 10th Street West, it's all going to be reconstructed and resurfaced. So there'll be brand new pavement through there, as well as we have a potable water line from LA County Waterworks, a 36-inch main that's going to go in, and also a 24-inch recycled water line that's going to be installed through this area. The recycled water line is slated to go out to bid in the springtime for an early summer award, and then to move into construction. We're also coordinating with Southern California Edison at this time to relocate 10 of their power poles. So as we're working on Avenue J, there will be work done on Avenue K. So two of our major arterials will be receiving work. And we're trying to time this work so that two consecutive ramps aren't closed per the Caltrans standard. However, we're showing construction on both. One of the things that Lancaster can boast with regard to Measure R is that out of the 88 cities in LA County, we're going to be two of the first that have set out as an agency alone to push this through. Caltrans and LA County on our Avenue M project to move it forward to construction. I think as we look at the reports, we're sitting in a pretty good spot for the next 5 years as we start to move the construction of these freeway projects along. What you're going to find as we move forward with Avenue M, that's a multi-jurisdictional project with LA County, Palmdale, and ourselves. That's a $32 million project. It's currently has a stop controlled intersection, and we're proposing to install two roundabouts at both the on-ramp and the off-ramps. With those roundabouts, there'll be 2-lane roundabouts. And then we have at 20th Street West, a signalized intersection. The bridge will be widened to its ultimate condition. So there is bridge widening work here. And this project is slated to last approximately a year and a half. With the Avenue L project, we're moving forward with the planning and the environmental phase. We're currently, we applied for a grant, an ATP grant, for additional funding to the tune of $12.5 million. And we should find out the results of that in March. Adjusting Avenue L to the ultimate condition, what we're going to end up doing here is we're going to right size the existing traffic lanes. The bridge is already built in its ultimate condition. We're going to have pedestrian and bike lanes. We're going to take out the high-speed ramps and tighten those up so that way they can interface, the freeway traffic can interface with the local traffic. And we're going to finally add a second left into Costco. We're also going to be improving 15th Street West within the environmental footprint, and that includes going through with a new pavement design where we're going to take out the road, remove and replace it, and then build it up to a standard that'll meet the current standard that, excuse me. We're going to build the asphalt to meet the current standard.
Rex, to tell you how long this has been going on, it's we actually got the money, the majority of the money for all these interchanges back in 2011 from the NCTC. This is money that came from the widening project on 138. They had 200 million that was slated for that. They found other funding that they gave us, but it had to go on to the 14 freeway. I misspoke. It had to go on 138, so not the 14 freeway. So the only places that we could put it are the places that we're putting it. The jurisdictional shares on Avenue M are 50% for Lancaster, 25 for the county, and 25 for the city of Palmdale. The only thing that I don't like is the off-ramp on Avenue J, the on-ramp. And Mike, can you go back to that slide, please?
Yes, sir.
So if you notice the on-ramp from Avenue J and the on-ramp from J8, they're within a half mile of each other after the on-ramp is, and that's not allowable by Caltrans rules. So we did fight them to maintain that, but Caltrans wouldn't allow us to do it. So for the better benefit of the entire community, we did that. But we did try to keep both on-ramps for that. But my understanding is we're going to eliminate the on-ramp off of J8 and 20th. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that is correct. Caltrans does not limit the off-ramps, but they do limit the on-ramps with regard to traffic weaving within a half mile of each other.
Correct. So the Avenue J on-ramp and the J8 on-ramp are too close to one another.
Yes.
So that's why we had to eliminate one of them. And with construction work in Medical Main Street, we felt it was better to go to this area. But that'll show you how long this takes to go through the bureaucratic stages of the county. We approved this in 2011.
That explains it. Now I know when we're going to get people vaccinated.
I'm just showing you. And Mike, can you go on the off-ramp, the northbound off-ramp on Avenue K?
Okay, northbound off-ramp, Avenue K.
My understanding is they're going to widen that and make it easier so the backlog on that doesn't happen on the freeway.
That is correct, and we're also signal syncing the traffic signals so we can get a free flow, kind of like 10th Street West. You guys have experienced if you catch a green light and you maintain the speed limit, you can make it from essentially Avenue H all the way to Avenue M with all greens, and you travel the speed limit. So yes, we are going to enhance the traffic operations there through widening of the ramp, and then also tying in with our signal synchronization program.
Okay. And Rex, this is the time where if you want those walls built.
What walls? The sound walls?
The sound walls and the pollution walls.
We have money to do it?
No.
Oh. Then why are you baiting me?
I'm not. I'm just telling you because I don't want them to come back and say that we should have told you before we do it. If we want to see if we can go get some grants to do it, but now's the time.
Do we have anybody working on that? Mike?
Yes, sir.
Get us some sound walls, would you? Yeah.
Understood, sir. If you're going to give the order, I'll go ahead and I'll definitely look into it and see if we can't make that happen. I'll look at the grant opportunities. I know with Measure R, the funding outlook is it's relatively tight. Metro plays a close hand, but we also play hard too. So we'll go ahead and look into that and see if we can't make that happen.
Okay. I'm thinking especially by the park.
Right. Off of Owen Park.
Yeah. Yep. You know, you got a lot of physical activity going there. And if we can lower the particulate matter some way, I would like to be able to do that. But Mike, I want to tell you, I watched you at the hospital. You did the most amazing job. I mean, it was truly phenomenal to watch. You know, they're tense, but they're actually, I mean, it's amazing. You had to put in the electrical for a 30, 40 bed hospital. And you had to do it overnight. And then you had to go find oxygen and make it so you could pump it in to the patients. I mean, it was a construction job that was extremely complex. It would have taken, you know, I could see something like that taking a month, and you did it in hours. You will always be respected by this city for truly doing the impossible. It was unbelievable. I wish everybody could have shared the experience. I mean, can you imagine? All of a sudden they say, well, there's no oxygen, and we can't shut off the oxygen in the hospital to feed the field hospital because you're going to have 130 patients die if we do. I mean, it was, and next thing you know, you get together with NASA and we have a total independent oxygen system in hours. It was truly unbelievable. You're one of the unsung heroes of this city.
Sir, we definitely have a great team here at Public Works. So it definitely wasn't just me. It was just I think everybody worked together. It really was a testimony of our emergency response. And you know, I look forward to and I will float that, knowing that I'm not supposed to give my opinion here, but should the county get the vaccines out, we do have a team that'll be able to set up and get everybody vaccinated. So we're ready. We're always ready. You guys make the call. We'll make the moves. So
be ready.
Yes, sir.
Somehow we're going to find that vaccine. Yep. Okay. That was great. Thank you. Can I get my screen back?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Is there a motion? Any public comment?
At this time, anyone wishing to come in on NB1, please press *9. I will announce the last 4 digits of your calling number when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Please press *9 at this time if you wish to come in on NB1.
Not seeing any. Is there a motion?
I'll move NB1, number 1, 2, and 3.
I'll second it.
Can we call the roll, please?
City Council Member Doris?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Christ?
Yes.
Mayor Pears?
Yes. Passes unanimously. Are we at the council agenda now?
We are at the council agenda now, yes.
Good. Actually, you have to go back and it didn't pass unanimously. It passed 302 with 2 abstaining.
No, I think they recused themselves.
Okay.
And so technically, but okay.
Recusing.
I think we have to let it know for the record that.
All right.
I'm just being careful.
Okay. Yeah, we wouldn't want them to repossess the off-ramp, would we?
Yeah.
That would be no good. After Marvin and I went down and got all that darn money, what the heck?
Marvin had to fight for that. You know, that was not an easy thing.
No.
His buddy Jim Ledford was working opposite of us, Rex. So it was a bit of a dance when we were negotiating that piece.
Boy, that's a name from the past.
It was Marvin's best friend.
All right, moving on. Where am I at? Council agenda.
Council.
Are there any public comments on the council agenda?
At this time,
We got Maria's last name wrong, right?
Yes, it should be. Hold on.
Altamirano.
Yes, thank you.
Maria, can you say it again for me?
Altamirano, Altamirano.
Thank you.
People just call you Maria a lot, don't they?
Yes, Maria.
Okay, is there any public comment?
At this time, anyone wishing to come in on CA1, please press *9. I will announce the last 4 digits of your calling number when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Please press *9 at this time if you wish to comment on CA1.
Well, Maria, that's a testament. You don't have any enemies willing to publicly proclaim.
Yet.
Okay.
Okay. So how are we doing this? Well, let's vote on her. First of all, Maria's our new deputy mayor, added to the COVID-19 team, and they will remain deputy mayors until the COVID crisis is over. They are charged with making certain we have as few people die as possible. And, I guess probably if we don't get that vaccine pretty soon, we're going to have one of you over here to resuscitate me if I have a cardiac arrest while I'm blowing up about it. Isn't that right, Daryl?
It seems that way, but we're not going to let that happen.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Could we call the roll?
City Councilmember Doris?
Big yes.
Molly?
Yes.
Mann?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Christ?
Yes.
Mayor Pears?
Yes. So, Maria, you can be Mayor Maria now.
I can be what?
And you get to sit in his seat when we come back.
So are we
let them set you up, Maria, like they did me.
I don't have the sheet to swear you in, but I guess, Andrea, can you do it? Or should we do it some other time? What's the plan?
I can do it from memory.
Show off.
I do it so often.
Who was valedictorian in her college?
Would you please swear Maria in?
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Maria S. Altamirano,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
that
I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear
true faith
and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California.
And the Constitution of the United States, of the State of California. Sorry, my phone's ringing. I'm distracted by this phone.
That I take this obligation freely.
That I take this obligation freely.
Without any mental reservation.
without any mental reservations
or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Welcome, Maria.
Thank you, guys.
I'm glad you're joining the team.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Very grateful.
Good. So go get us some vaccine, would you?
Sure.
That's your job. That's why you're the deputy mayor.
Oh,
We need 150,000 doses. No, we need 300,000.
300. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Maria, so you went to school with my sister, right?
I sure did, both your brother and your sister.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yes.
I'm very happy
Thank
to.
you. It's great. Thank you.
Okay, moving on. What do we have? Council reports. Do we have any council reports?
I'll do a couple. The AVA QMD did some grants on some tractors for AV farming that allowed them to take old tractors out of the mix, and we put new ones in. We also did a grant for the fairgrounds to change the lighting out there. We're going to go solar instead of having at the fairgrounds. So we did a grant for that. At AVTA, we did reach our milestone at 4 million miles in the middle of the month. So that was a big thing for AVTA. And again, we're the only agency in the United States that runs on a profit. So I think that's good. The NCTC, we did move forward with that. And we did appoint Mr. Darrell Doris as the new SCAG rep for the city of Lancaster and for our area. So we're moving forward and everything's good.
And Marvin forgot to say that he was elected as vice chairman to NCTC. Did you not?
Yes, I did.
So we did take other actions besides getting Darrell appointed. So, and then sharing from Destination Lancaster. If you've looked at the recent performance of the hotels, we're doing quite well, even against last year and the year before. So we made a $5,000 donation to the Rural Museum. They're now working on the inside with all the finish and the displays. And we thought that definitely when somebody would come to Lancaster, whether you live here locally or you're out of the area, we felt it was definitely an item that Destination Lancaster should be a part of from a standpoint of being able to direct people that come into the valley to go visit, to learn about the heritage of both the city of Lancaster and the Antelope Valley.
Also, I was able to not only be with SCAG, but I was also blessed to represent Antelope Valley in the High Desert Corridor as a member also with that. And Rex, to add to the meeting with Carol, I was able to have a meeting with Carol from Valley Oasis. And from that meeting, we established a second meeting with Marvin, myself, and a couple of team members from the city. And we're going to sit down with her along with a board member and her CFO to look over and answer some financial questions that you've been inquiring, the city's been inquiring about, and just see how we can better partner and get the answers that we've been looking for. So Marvin is going to lead that along with myself, and we'll see what we can do to better build that relationship with Valley Oasis.
Okay, good. So we're making progress, right?
Yes, sir.
Excellent.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Rex, did you want to go and talk about the joint meeting?
Yeah, I guess we could do that now. So here's the plan. I think we've reached a place where Palmdale and Lancaster can start working together in ways that we've never done before. So we're going to have a joint meeting of the Palmdale Council, the Lancaster Council. I'm going to ask Catherine Barger if she would chair that meeting. So you know that there's an equity to it all, and whatever is on the agenda that is of mutual concern to both cities, and there's a lot that is of mutual concern, then each council will vote independently. And then if both councils approve it, then we can be doing some joint efforts that I think will improve the well-being of the entire valley. So, you know, I'm looking forward to it. I'm kind of excited about it. I think we're at that place now where we're seeing that we have to start working towards the same goals a little bit better than we have in the past. So when do you think we're going to have that meeting, Marvin?
Well, hopefully, originally we had scheduled it for somewhere in April because part of the plan is for them to join Destination AV, and we will eliminate Destination Lancaster and make it Destination AV and make it a joint effort between the two cities. They had to have time to go to their hotels and to do that. So, but we're going to make it as soon as possible so we can at least get so the city managers can have the options and the marching orders and what they need to do. So there's a lot of things that are on the table. But I think it's the first step that the cities are going to take. And we have pretty good cooperation from the city of Palmdale and with us, and we have good relations. So, Donna, I hope that the supervisor can make some time for us because this is a big step for both cities. We're going to show at least Southern California that we're united, and that's what
I was just going to ask, but you said April. So do you want me to go ahead and start working on possible days that she's available in April, or do you want to finish some discussions first?
Well, I'm going to try and shoot for somewhere in February if possible, if we can get it uptick. But I have to talk with both city managers to do that. So.
Oh, a date in February instead of April? I thought you said April.
I did say April. I said it was originally scheduled for April.
Oh, okay. But now you want to try to move forward sooner.
Yeah, and they can see what they need to do, and we can back it out. So, Jason,
do you want to have that discussion with Palmdale first, and then get back to me, and then I'll say yes, we're looking for a date in February.
Yeah, we will coordinate with you, Donna. It's important
okay.
to the council, so make sure we work around her schedule.
Okay.
Jason, just arm wrestle JJ and you got it, man. Come on.
Got it. I was just texting with him about something else, so we're pretty good. Just let me know.
Donna, do you know where they're actually storing the vaccine?
If you would give me these questions ahead of time, I'd have an answer.
There's an Ocean's 14 episode.
Hey, I'm just going to say Ocean's 11, 12, and 13.
It's a hidden. It's in a museum vault or something, I hear.
You know, we got some incredibly innovative people in this city.
Yeah.
Hey, just a thought. Okay. Thank you, Donna.
You're welcome.
Do we have is Captain Weber on? Jason, do you know?
Yeah, I see him there.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You know, I got grilled by the LA Times yesterday regarding that report they did. And I'm wondering if you're on top of that is all. I mean, there's been a request for information, and I don't know what the policy is. If there's an officer involved shooting, it would seem to me we we may not want to give out the name, but at the same time, I think that we would circumvent a lot of problems down the road if we gave them more information than we're giving.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the question from the Times was to you, but if you're asking in general about information that's given out per SB 1421 requests for officer-involved shootings or certain force injustice misconduct, there absolutely is a process in place. If you go to lasd.org, our department's webpage, right on the face page of the homepage, there's a transparency promise link. And if you go to that link, there's a specific link for those 1421 requests. And then there are also links that go to force, complaints, shootings. And what the department is doing is homicide handles officer-involved shootings. And as they get their information and they give the case over to the DA and it progresses and so forth, they update that list of all the shootings. What they start with a summary or synopsis of what it was. Then ultimately they do a video that kind of gives what they've determined so far. They note whether or not the coroner's released his report yet. There's a number of information on there. And as far as the name being released, like I said, it's a request per 1421 on that. It goes right to our discovery unit. And then ultimately, there is a process in place to see whether they're going to release it, or is there specific officer safety concerns where they're going to delay it, but they have to explain the reasoning for that. And ultimately, I think what the goal is ultimately is just as it gets caught up. When they get a new shooting, everything's caught up, they'll just put that 1421 information on that page instead of waiting for it to come in. But when they started that when that legislation went into place, there was a push to, should we start it, moving forward or all of them? And it actually is backdated also. So you have media outlets and different organizations that come in and say, we want the information on all shootings, which is a tremendous amount. And there was no funding for any kind of software for redaction. So it's been a monumental effort to do all that redacting by hand. I know that they're getting more and more of them done because when I was a lieutenant at IA, my name would be on investigations, and I constantly get emails saying, hey, your name is associated with the shooting, we're releasing information. Do you have any concerns? So I know they're catching up with that. But that transparency page has a ton of information on it. We talk about it at our community meetings and so forth. If you just go look at it, there's a ton of information on there, and they're adding more and more to it all the time.
In this particular shooting, do we have somebody working with the family?
In what respect? Who?
Just keeping them advised of
yeah, homicide does that. There's litigation behind that shooting that always complicates things. And then the Department of Public Health, they have a team that works with us also if the family is amenable, and they can put them in touch with that. And when it first happens, they'll contact immediately if the concerned parties are willing to do so. Okay.
I obviously don't want to release anything that endangers the deputy, and if the city has to do anything in that regard, we will. But in regards to working with the family, I want to make certain somebody is working with the family. I really don't care about the litigation. It is what it is. Okay.
Sure.
Okay, good. And I guess the Social Equity Commission has had some concerns about it. So if somebody from the department could reach out to them and explain what the policies are and why the policies exist.
Yeah, absolutely. And if, like, you know me, I'm available for everything. So if they want to send me a link to invite me to a meeting, I'm more than happy to speak to them, or if they want to speak to me offline, however you want to do it, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. City manager, do you have any announcements?
Yeah, we have a couple short videos. Just want to give a shout out to our team. You see it a little bit today with the construction that's going on with our capital team. But, you know, in spite of the COVID, and I know we spent a lot of time on COVID, we're still doing the work of the citizens. And I think that's important to share. We're still getting those potholes filled, still getting that illegal dumps picked up, still getting the road construction managed moving forward, obviously enforcing the laws. There's just a lot of good things going on. So the two short videos are one with MLK Day. Over the weekend, there was a lot of volunteerism happening. Of course, we had to do it differently this year, obviously with COVID in place, so we couldn't do the normal get-togethers, but our staff worked hard to put together some virtual events. We'll have a short video on that, and then we'll talk about our impact team. Clark will run the video. There you go.
There are still many lessons to learn about justice, equality, and unity. Martin Luther King Jr. was a fearless leader and advocate for civil rights who dreamed of a world without racial segregation and sought equality and unity for us all. We have celebrated Martin Luther King Jr. Day in the past, but this year it looked a little different. Despite the pandemic restrictions, our community was still able to find ways to serve this year when we need it more than ever. In honor of the 2021 Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service, we were able to serve the city of Lancaster in a variety of ways remotely. We held a community cleanup day where we collected more than 8 tons of trash in one day. Residents came together to record a video thanking our first responders for their service. We held a virtual dedication for the new Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service Peace Tree at the Sergeant Steve Owen Memorial Park. We took donations for the Dress for Success program, which provides proper business attire to those in our homeless community who are seeking jobs. We ran a senior outreach program to help provide our senior community with information about the resources available to them right here in Lancaster. We saw a stunning play written and performed by local students in celebration of Justice Sunday. In Martin Luther King Jr.'s words, life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? This year, we are inspired once more by his drive to see all people live in peace and equality. May we never forget how relevant this message is and always will be for our generation and all generations to come.
I'd also like to give a shout out to the team who put on Justice Sunday. We have links on our Facebook sites as well as our YouTube page. Partnered with LPAC to do that video shoot of what is Justice Sunday, and they just did a phenomenal job. So we linked that live. And then we also have that circulating on Channel 28 as well as online. So shout out to them. You saw some of the videos, clips in there. They just did a wonderful job. And also, if you recall, a couple of years ago, we started a group called the Impact Team, which is a number of different youths in the community that volunteer for a small stipend. And they do a number of different community projects. Many of you are involved with them pre-COVID, where we're out, doing community cleanups, community surveys, things of that nature. They are still active and operational. I want to give a shout out to them. They're just doing a phenomenal job out there. Many of these, when you meet these young people, they're just fabulous, hardworking, dedicated young people that are either in college or planning to go to college and want to have an impact in the community. And they have done a fantastic job. So we'll play that short video and then my presentation is done.
Believe it or not, 2020 did not stop our Impact Volunteer Program. Our teens spent last year adapting their volunteer efforts to fit the new dynamic of service in the midst of a pandemic. Our Impact teens have been actively supporting the city of Lancaster, even during the last couple of winter months in the midst of a safer-at-home order. They spent time virtually connecting with our senior citizens to bring cheer and friendship during this isolated time. They wrapped presents for kids for the Salvation Army. And you may have seen them working the magical Boulevard Christmas or at the drive-in movie nights. Not to mention, they also assisted in our milk distribution drive, where over 7,000 gallons of milk were handed out. As we continue to do our best to serve the city of Lancaster, know that we could not do what we do without the support of volunteers like the Impact Teens.
I love that video. I see it and I think about the college job I had where I picked up dead catfish for a day and laugh about it. Somebody's going to say, I dressed up as Captain America for a week, so it'll be fun. They're doing a phenomenal job.
I think those kids are incredible. I'm really proud of them. I'm proud of the city that we have. Yeah. Okay.
That's why you fighting so hard for him, Rex.
I just wish we could fight more effectively for them.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so city clerk.
At this time, anyone wishing to comment on non-agendized items, please press star 9. I will announce the last 4 digits of your calling number when it is your turn to speak. Please state your name and eliminate any background noise. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. Please keep in mind state law prohibits council from taking action on items not listed on the agenda. Please press star 9 at this time if you wish to comment on non-agendized items. Caller with the last 4, 1995, please press star 6 to unmute yourself and state your name.
Okay. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, this is Eugene Hernandez, resident voter, Lancaster. I would like to say that President Biden, Attorney General, has targeted the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department for investigation because of its brutality, corruption, and racism. The Los Angeles Times reported 300 sheriff deputies have been accused of anything from murder to child abuse, and the district attorney previously did nothing about it. I think it's a shame that we have a sheriff's department that has gangs that are more dangerous than street gangs. The county supervisors have agreed that Alex Villanueva is an incompetent leader and should resign. The fact is that we're, as taxpayer, paying for the abuses that the sheriff's department has. And they were too cowardly to even go to the inquest of Andres Guardado and Tizzy. You know, this is a law enforcement department that is out of control and the most dangerous and brutal in this entire United States. Mr. Mayor, you have a billboard saying justice. I think the city should investigate and evaluate its contract with the sheriff's department, or else put up a police review board in the city. I also like to also state that I get the magazine Outlook, which has a diversity committee. There are no Latinos in that diversity committee. I think that's a big mistake. And finally, I'd like to say that it was very racist of the council member to tell Maria that she should just leave her name. They, instead of saying, I'm going to try to learn your last name, they want her to just change her name, because white supremacy and white privilege doesn't take the time to pronounce a person's name. You would never have done that to a black woman. That was a very racist statement.
Thank you. That was my statement, and if that offended Maria, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was very offensive. It was racist.
Listen, you don't get to call me a racist. You can. I apologized. I can't pronounce her name, and perhaps I should have just said nothing. I will be more sensitive to that in the future. I actually take a Spanish class every single morning. It is something I am striving to do. And I'm sorry I am not progressing as fast as you would like me to. That's just the way it is. And if Maria has a problem with what I said, I'm sure she'll tell me. Because one of the reasons I appointed her to a deputy mayor is because she is not afraid to voice her opinions.
No, I do want to clarify one thing. The reason why there was a mispronunciation about my name is because it wasn't printed correctly on the agenda. So I think that was the main issue. And so that's why my last name was not printed on there, and we had to clarify. So that's why we had this mispronunciation of the last name. So, and that's why I had to spell it out. So I just want to put it out there. Unfortunately, it wasn't written out correctly, but that's the rationale.
Thanks, Maria, for clarifying that. Appreciate that.
No problem.
Okay, do we got anybody else?
No other speakers at this time.
Okay. And Maria, do you accept my apology?
Sure, definitely.
Okay, thank you. We don't have executive session or a closed session today, right?
Correct. No closed session tonight.
Okay. Okay. An eventful meeting, I guess. The next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, February 9th, 2021 at 5 p.m. Hopefully by then, we will have a robust vaccination program in the Antelope Valley, and I will be able to pronounce Maria's name by then. But it's going to take me a week to learn to do it. It's difficult for me to pronounce certain words.
Yeah, you basically have all the vowels except for an O, a U, and an E.
I've been really working at rolling my R's. I mean, one step at a time. Thank you. All right, everybody. I love you. I love the city. I hope we continue to make progress in the times of this epidemic. And I hope that we give everyone and each other a little more grace than we have in the past. And yep. I think we're all working towards the same goal, or at least most of us are working towards the same goal. And I will, in spite of Mr. Hernandez's toxic tone, he does make some good points. And I will look at the Social Equity Commission, and I will look and see who is asked to join it. Okay. Anything else?
Happy belated birthday, Rex.
What?
Happy belated birthday, old man.
You know, how did I ever get to be this old?
Look at it this way. That gap between you and Marvin stays the same, though.
Hey, Rex.
The oldest of the three of us?
No, Ken is by far.
By far?
I want you to, Rex, you see what this is?
What is that?
It's a backpack.
That was an inside joke.
Hey,
all right.
No fair.
See you guys later. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.